Right now, our while loop here, and more importantly, the if statement in the while loop, only supports two cases: new transaction value or printing blockchain elements. And actually, if we execute this, even if we enter something invalid, like this string here, we go into the output the blockchain mode, because we're saying whenever we enter anything different than 1, we print out the blockchain elements. Now, we probably don't want to do that. Maybe we want to tell the user that the input was invalid if we don't recognize it, if it's not one of our options. And maybe we also want to provide an additional option which allows the user to quit our loop. These are things we can achieve by adding one extra feature to our if-else statement. This is the if-else statement as we have it, but let's say there's an additional case. So here in this example, the input is not empty, but it's only one character. And maybe that's too short, and we want to execute the too short function for that. Python also has the elif for else if case in if statements for that. This allows us to actually say, well, the first condition wasn't met, let's check for another condition. And you can add as many elif statements to your if statement as you want. Now let's see that in action. In our if statement here, we're only checking whether the value is 1. Now actually what I want to do is, I want to introduce my elif block, and elif works a bit like if, it's just, well, elif, but then you enter another condition again. So here I want to check if user choice is equal to 2, because only in that case, so again you enter a colon and use indentation, only in that case I want to print my blockchain. In the else case, which I can still add, this will fire for any other input. I actually want to tell the user that the input was invalid. So here we will print input was invalid. Please pick a value from the list. So now with that already, if I execute my file here, I'm prompted for the first value. And now we can enter 1 or 2. If I enter f, which clearly is neither 1 or 2, I actually get input was invalid. Please pick a value from the list. If I enter 2, I'm outputting the list. And if I enter 1, I'm prompted for a new value. So this is now working, and now we're already taking advantage of elif. Now, that is nice, but often we also want to allow the user to exit our loop, and maybe do this differently than forcing the user to use Control-Z. Well, for that, we can do two things. First of all, we should provide one additional option, maybe Q for quit. You can, of course, use any characters you want. Quit. So now the user can enter Q. But of course, this still doesn't do anything. We also need to handle that case. So I'll add another elif block here, and I'll check whether user choice is equal to Q. If that is the case, then I want to quit that loop. And here we actually got two ways of doing so. Now let's have a look at option number 1.